Hey everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of New York City, Season 10, Episode 7, On an Island. Okay, we open up in Puerto Rico with Dorinda and Bethenny, and Bethenny is so harsh. I don't know what it is about her. Listen, I'm not going to criticize her too harshly because she's doing so much more than most of us do. It isn't just writing a check. She is handing these families who are still without power, whose homes are destroyed, she's putting gift cards, $300 gift cards, right in their hands. And these people are crying. They're saying that nobody has come to see them yet. And this is several months, she said. So I'm not, because of filming, I'm not exactly sure of the timeline, but Bethenny said it was several months after the hurricane. The hurricane was in September of 2017. So I think this filming is somewhere around the end of November. So it's been a couple months and they're still without power. And as we know now, most of Puerto Rico has power, but I think there are still some areas up in the mountains that are still without power. And we're closing in on a year now. So it's just a horrific thought. But because she's not just writing a check, she's actually getting the money to the people, I can't really diss her too much. But I'll try. She's just so rough and gruff. It makes it hard to love her. Like, yeah, it's fine. Here's $300. Yeah, it's a gift card. It's fine. Yeah. Or when she was like passing them out to her team. Okay, in this bag, $125,000 in this bag. So, yeah, we're just going to pass it out. And she's not very humble. And she doesn't have to be, because what's more important is what she's doing. But I don't know. She just still bugs me a little bit. If you guys know what I'm talking about and could articulate it better, please leave a comment. What am I trying to say? Is something bugging you about her too? All right, then we have a weird Sonja and Ramona scene where I guess they're trying to make up. They're in a limo and they head to a store in Great Neck that is owned by, I think, a friend of Ramona's. It was just sort of a silly throwaway scene. Sonja kind of had her nose out of joint a little bit, I thought. She asks, are those chinchilla, these coats? Are they chinchilla? And he said, yes. So $30,000, that range? And he goes, something like that. And then Ramona said, oh, are you going to get one? And Sonja goes, I own one. It was a little weird and a little bit snotty. Okay, we get a deliciously delightful scene of LuAnn meeting with Ben, who is a cabaret director. I guess LuAnn is going to be putting on a cabaret show and Ben's going to help her. They meet in this little, looks like a rooftop bar somewhere in the city. There's two amazing things about this scene. The first one happens in LuAnn's confessional, where she tells us that I only sang on Broadway once. And when I finished, Liza Minnelli looked at me and said, girl. And then I thought, I can do this. But just in case you thought that was the best part of this scene, LuAnn does not disappoint. Ben asks her to sing anything for me, he says. Happy birthday. I just want to hear it. How you sound. I just want to hear. And so she leans in real close. Real close to him. And I thought, are you going to make out with that guy? But no. She leans in and she starts, happy birthday. Now, she's trying not to do Marilyn. I can tell. She's trying to rein it in with the happy birthday, Benny baby. Happy birthday to you. He's smiling and he goes, beautiful. Wait for it. And then LuAnn said, nice, right? Oh, your confidence. Oh, she loves herself. She was feeling herself in that moment. That's my LuAnn. We cut back to Puerto Rico, and I don't want to dwell on this part of the show too much because most of you have watched the episode yourself. And as far as my little recap show here, I like to keep it light and fun and funny. And this part is anything but. It is nighttime now, and we're seeing what this, no power really looks like. These people are just sitting outside their homes. They've maybe have a room or two that they can sleep in that isn't destroyed. There's no light. They have flashlights, but they can't listen to the radio or a television. Dorinda is talking to Omar, who's one of the people from Bethenny's team. And she said, all this debris around them, though, I would think that it would attract animals or not be safe. And he said, oh, yeah, it brings roaches and rats, and it's unsanitary. There's mold. And like I said, I don't want to get into it too much. I just think it's great that Bethenny is there. Okay, so now everyone is back in New York. I guess Dorinda's not feeling well because she is not going to be at this dinner. LuAnn asks Bethenny, oh, tell me about Puerto Rico. And Carole said, yeah, I want to hear everything. And Bethenny said, it was great. I don't want to really talk about it until Dorinda can be here, but it was great and it was a rewarding trip. And then she turns to Tinsley and says, tell me about Chicago. How's Scott? How'd that go? And Tinsley said, yeah, it was good. It went well, and they're together again. So she's happy about it, and everything's good. Oh, Sonja hadn't arrived yet, because now Sonja shows up. There's a comment about how, oh, I'm on the end again. And for some reason, Bethenny takes it upon herself to sort of defend and speak for Sonja. If Bethenny wants to take a side, that's fine, but why she feels like she has to take on fighting Sonja's battle, I don't understand. I think it has something to do with the fact that she herself is irritated by how close Carole and Tinsley have gotten. I think she's feeling some feelings there, neglect or something. That's already irritating Bethenny, and not just on Sonja's behalf. I think it's irritating Bethenny on Bethenny's behalf. That's just my theory. So Bethenny turns to Tinsley, pretty virtually out of the blue. She looks at her and says, so, when you came here, you were on the bottom. And she's like, what do you mean? When you came back to New York, you were on the bottom, and she took you in, but you were on the bottom. She's coming in so hot. Tinsley was caught off guard, for one thing, because a second ago she was asking her about Chicago and Scott. So she said, she goes, yeah, I was. And coming to her defense was Carole saying, well, emotionally. And Bethenny looks at Carole and said, okay, but I'm talking to her right now. Ooh, well, all right. And Carole said, I know. I'm just saying, emotionally, she was on the bottom. And Bethenny goes, what did you think I meant, the bottom of the universe? Yeah, you were. And socially. And now Tinsley getting a little upset. And she goes, well, not exactly. And now Bethenny's I think, badgering her. Until Tinsley goes, okay, yeah, okay. It was weird. It was mean. It was like a bully. It was very strange. The way, and socially. Yes, okay. Tinsley's stop already. I gotta tell you, even Sonja looked uncomfortable. Then Bethenny turned to her and Sonja said, she told me she had no friends and she needed help. And Tinsley goes, that's a lie. Again, you're lying about me. Bethenny goes, she didn't lie. She didn't say anything. She hasn't said one word. What? You could play the tape back, but we all heard Sonja just say, she told me she had no friends and she needed my help. What do you mean she didn't say a word? We all heard that. So Tinsley goes, she just said it. Now, Tinsley's getting a little heated and getting a little loud. Ramona jumps in for some reason and goes, but Bethenny's trying to make a point. Bethenny now turns her anger to Ramona because Bethenny doesn't want any help from Ramona, okay? And she goes, no, I'm not trying to do anything. Okay. Bethenny is acting like a wild animal who's just now lashing out at everybody. I don't know where it came from. I don't understand it. And Tinsley goes, I wanted to be your friend. I was down with that. And Bethenny goes, please stop screaming. Okay, Bethenny raised her voice at Tinsley first. And maybe Tinsley was loud. I don't know. It seemed to me like they were both, or everybody was kind of getting loud. Carole makes the grave error of defending Tinsley again. Looks at Bethenny and goes, I mean, come on. We've all screamed, all right? We've all gotten loud before. Yeah, Bethenny didn't want to hear that, Carole. Bethenny looks at Carole and goes, what? Why do you do that? You always do that. You always defend the person you're sitting right next to. First it was Heather, then me, now Tinsley. And Carole's like, what are you talking about? No, I don't. I'm a ride or die, honey. I'm a good friend, and you know it. I think it was LuAnn who even said, you know, whatever's going on with Bethenny and Carole, I don't think that really has anything to do with Sonja and Tinsley, and I don't either. The next scene is Carole heading to the Cosmopolitan offices, and she's meeting with the editor-in-chief because she's going to be writing a short article for Cosmo. I'm not sure I understand if it's an ongoing thing or if it's just a one-time only. I think she said it was going to be about self-esteem. I would just like to suggest, Carole, that you interview LuAnn and Ramona. Whatever they have needs to be bottled. I'd love a little bit of it. Okay, now we see Bethenny and Dorinda. They're meeting at a restaurant, and Bethenny's catching her up on what she missed at that dinner. And then I think we're getting a little bit of a glimpse into perhaps the core of what's going on with Bethenny and Carole. Dorinda was thanking Bethenny again for inviting her to Puerto Rico. And then Bethenny said, you know, last summer I asked Adam, Carole's ex-boyfriend, if he would be interested or have the opportunity to go on an adventure. And she had invited him to go to Puerto Rico as a photographer. And his reply to her was, what's the comp? Yeah. She said, nobody has ever asked me what the comp was for this charity stuff. And she said, you know, and when we told him there is no comp, he said, well, no, I can't go. Okay, I know that looks bad. And it is. It's bad. But Bethenny did say that Adam said, I can't afford to miss work and not get paid for a week. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know how much Adam makes. I mean, I don't think you should shame people into helping. That bothers me a little bit. If somebody feels like they can't afford to go on a big trip and miss work, I don't think they should be like shamed for that. And certainly not on this TV show, Bethenny. I don't think that's cool. And I'm not Team Adam, by the way. I think it's awesome what you're doing, Bethenny, but I don't think you should shame others into also doing it. Anyway, Bethenny said that sort of rubbed her the wrong way then when he declined to come. And it didn't bother Carole. Dorinda asked, is that what kind of happened with you two? And Bethenny said, you know, maybe partly, but mostly I think it was that over the summer, I was really getting into this whole Puerto Rico thing, helping out and talking about it a lot. I was learning about it, and I was very, very involved in it. And Carole wasn't, and maybe didn't want to hear about it so much. And then Carole and Tinsley and Scott and Adam had gone on trips together in the summer, and maybe that they kind of got closer. Bethenny got more involved in the Puerto Rico thing, and that might have just been a little bit of a wedge. Just the fact that the two of them had gone in separate directions. I think what Bethenny isn't saying is that I think she was annoyed with Carole. I think that's kind of what started the whole thing. Okay, a little more lightheartedly, Sonja invites LuAnn and Ramona over to paint her patio furniture. You know, she's getting the townhouse ready to rent. At first, I was laughing at how these women dress to paint. Like, LuAnn's got a scarf on. A scarf? Is that a good idea when you're trying to paint? But I needn't have worried because Sonja had hazmat suits for everybody. Yeah, they're just touching up paint. It wasn't like they were repainting a room. It was just little touch-up on the outdoor furniture. But they are covered head to toe in these white painter suits. Ramona puts hers on and she's like, oh, I have such a low crotch. And LuAnn goes, well, mine is perfect. It's like it was made for me. And Ramona goes, yeah, that's because you're LuMann. First of all, it's LuMann, right? Because it's LuAnn and they were teasing her with the low voice. LuMann, not LuMann. It's LuMann. That's because you're LuMann. And LuAnn goes, it's because I'm tall. I'm tall, baby. Ramona goes, yeah, like a man. Oh, God. Okay, the final scene of this show takes place at Carole's friend's apartment, and they're having like a book launching party for Carole's friend Karen Duffy, who I think, was she an MTV VJ? I'm gonna have to go look that up, but I think I know who she is. She wrote a book about living with chronic pain, and they never mentioned what she had or why she was living with chronic pain. I did notice she had like a bandage on her chest that you could partially see because her blouse was lower than that. And so I assume that might be part of it, but I'm gonna have to look it up. If you guys know, let me know in the comments. LuAnn and Ramona arrive first. There's just a very strange scene with LuAnn and Karen Duffy. LuAnn asked Carole, have I met her before? And Carole says, I don't know. And she goes, Duff, come over here. And she said, this is my friend LuAnn. This is Karen Duffy. LuAnn was wondering if you guys had met. And Duff said, no, I don't think so. And LuAnn, this is just so weird. LuAnn goes, oh, no, I don't think we have. I would not forget a beautiful face like yours. And Duff goes, oh, you charmer. LuAnn, if you do not want to be called LuMann, you got to stop with those kind of comments because that was a little odd. So Ramona goes over to Carole to talk to her. And she said, you know, I really like how you've been standing up for yourself. That's a new Carole. I like it. And Carole's like, well, okay, I don't think I'm any different. And Ramona goes, you know, like when Bethenny called you a puppet? And she goes, what are you talking about? She called you a puppet. She said first you were Heather's puppet, and then you were her puppet, and now you're Tinsley's puppet. Carole goes, I didn't hear her say that. And she goes, oh, yeah, she said it. Bravo can't even find footage where Bethenny calls her a puppet. Carole's like, I don't think she would have used that word. So now Ramona is kind of backing off a little and realizing she might have gotten that wrong. But to the confession cam, she says, I might have gotten the word wrong, but I know she said something derogatory. Ramona's right, because she did. So when Bethenny shows up to the party, Carole does ask her, did you call me a puppet? Bethenny's got to think about it for a minute. I don't think so. I don't think I would have used that word. To the confession cam, Bethenny's like, I mean, did I say you follow other people? Did I say you have no thoughts of your own? That you're just like on a string dangling around? Yeah, I said all that, but I don't think I said the word puppet. The fact of the matter is she's right. She was implying that she was a puppet. Okay, so then Dorinda tells all the ladies that next week when they go to the Berserkshires, that she's going to have a murder mystery party. And everybody's reading what their characters are. And the biggest shock to me is that everybody seems on board. Bethenny? I'm just kind of surprised at how receptive everybody is to the idea of it. They all seem pretty happy about it. Then Tinsley pulls Sonja aside and asks if she can talk to her privately. And Sonja said yes. And she said, listen, I want you to know that if I don't seem grateful for the time I stayed with you, I'm sorry, because I am grateful. I was grateful and I am grateful that you took me in when I first came back to New York. I don't know. I mean, Sonja seemed to accept that apology. Tinsley then said, in the future, if you have a problem with me, please come to me. You don't have to go to Dorinda or tell anybody else. Just talk to me about it and we can get it straightened out. Sonja agreed to do that, and then Tinsley said, maybe we can have a drink or coffee together. And she said, I would like that. And they hugged, and I don't know. They seem to be friends for now, at least. This episode ends with the girls standing around, and Dorinda says, I ran into Tom, and he's having a New Year's Eve party on the same boat that they had their engagement party. And I just think that's so wrong and so tacky, and how could he do that? And I told him so, and he had some bimbo with him, and I said, don't bring your bimbos around my table anymore. And everybody seems to be in a tizzy about the fact that he is having his party on the same boat. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, to be honest with you. In the grand scheme of all the horrible things Tom has done, having a party on the same boat you had your engagement party isn't very high up on the list to me. So that's where this episode ends. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to leave your comments down below. I read all your comments and I appreciate them so much. I hope to see you next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Time for the next recap of The Real Housewives of New York City. Bye-bye.